Good afternoon. I am Robin Edwards and I serve as the Senior Program Manager with the National Black MBA Association. And welcome to Scale Up Winner Circle Series Part 3. National Black MBA Association Scale Up Pitch Challenge works to satisfy the mission of the association, which is to help create and support wealth building opportunities for our members. Previous participants have experienced great success with investors due to exposure and funding through this challenge. This challenge is a pitch competition designed to make big ideas bigger by encouraging members to create startups that are scalable. 2023 Scale Up Pitch Challenge application submissions will open on June 19th. If you are an entrepreneur and ready to take next steps to reach the next level, this challenge is for you. You will find that this challenge is more than just a $50,000. Yes, $50,000 first place prize, but it is also about creating, learning, and collaborating with other entrepreneurs. With this program, you will be exposed to new relationships, coaching, mentoring, and professional training that will help your business grow and you grow as an individual. The semifinals and finals will take place at the 2023 National Black Conference in Philadelphia on September the 14th and the 15th. National Black is hosting this Scale Up Winners Circle series to showcase past Scale Up winners. Today is the last part of this series, and we are speaking to the 2022 Scale Up Pitch Challenge first place winner, Mark Alexander, founder of Lite Tuition. Mark is a dedicated tech entrepreneur passionate about creating scalable, global change that drives innovation and impact. Alongside being a loving husband, he is an accomplished author, a social entrepreneur, and a motivational speaker who thrives on empowering others to reach their full potential. Mark's personal mission statement is to love, lead, and live a successful life in every aspect, and to help those that he encounters do the same. Welcome, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us today. I, for one, am very, very excited about speaking to you today. We are in for a treat. But before we get started, wanted to remind everyone that at the end of the interview, we will be taking questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section and we will get to them as soon as we can. So Mark, thank you so much and welcome again. I'm super excited. You're just an awesome person. I've talked a little bit about you and Lite Tuition, but give us more about Mark, the man, the husband, the entrepreneur, the motivational speaker. I mean, the list goes on, and about Lite Tuition.
Absolutely. So first, I'm going to open up with this and I'm explaining to all the viewers why I'm opening up this way. So I'm Mark Alexander, son of the Most High God, avid servant of Christ, life learner of wisdom, son of the late two-time cancer surviving woman Rhonda Harris, son of Emmanuel Osho from Nigeria, the tribe of Yoruba, loving husband of Aziza Alexander, and servant leader throughout the four corners of this earth. And for the listeners, why it's important that you understand who you are, of whom you are, because we all have greatness within ourselves. And what I've learned on this journey of life, and especially entrepreneurship, a lot of times we are taught to change who we are when we walk into certain rooms. But the reason I want to open up like that is don't change who you are, just change the rooms that you walk into. Because Natural Black was one of those rooms I walked into that embraced who I was, that embraced my family, my loved ones, my mission, and that changed my life. So I wanted to open up with that. But Mark Alexander, born and raised in the city of Pontiac, married to my lovely queen, Aziza. And my journey is one of those journeys I think faced by so many of us around the country. I didn't come from wealth. I didn't come from strong communities. I came from a loving household. My sister, my mom, and of course, my grandma were amazing pillars in my life growing up. All of them, unfortunately, with the exception of my sister and I, have succumbed to cancer in our family, which is challenging. But the one thing, Robin, that we had was love. And love was something that made us wealthy, even in our most impoverished state. Growing up, I went to Pontiac Central. I was considered top of the class. And then I had the pleasure of going to an engineering school here in the Michigan area. And what I've learned that just connected me so much with my entrepreneurial journey, my A plus from my high school and my community was equivalent to a C minus D plus at this engineering school I went to. So it was a lot of tools that me and my peers in my community weren't properly equipped with. The same thing is for so many of us on this entrepreneurial road. There's so much terminology, so much business and intellectual acumen that we just aren't aware of that keeps us from going to that next level, but it's all possible. For me, I felt like I was meant to go to that school. By my senior year in college, I had racked up over $130,000 in student loan debt. And I was at this roadblock where I couldn't get over this hurdle. My parents, my mom, my grandma, they were denied Parent Plus loans. I, of course, was not creditworthy enough to get a loan. So I had to sit on campus for a full year. And what I realized through that journey, sometimes you have to slow down in order to speed up. So what happened for me, I had to do some self-examination on my own self, who I was, what I expected to do. I did a lot of prayer and fasting. March 26th of 2009, I received a call from the school. Now, of course, when you owe the school money and you sit on campus, the call you think is like, all right, it's time to kick this young man out. He's been milking the electricity bill for the longest. But that call changed my life. When I picked up, the lady on the other end of the phone said, Mark, I have a check here in the amount of $16,000 to pay for your last year's school with the one request that you pay this gift forward. And I remember sitting across from my grandma, and I just broke down in tears because, Robin, something like that doesn't happen to your typical person. And that's where this journey began for me with Lite Tuition. That was a mustard seed of faith planted back then. Now, to date, Lite Tuition is the only platform that allows students to raise money for tuition that's sent directly to their school without the burden of debt. My philosophy in going through my own journey, you shouldn't let schooling get in the way of your education, which is why we're paving the way for the next generation to come to achieve every level of education which they seek. And this is just the beginning for us as we continue to grow, scale, and change over these next few years.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Wow. So, yes, pay it forward, and pay it forward you are doing, right? So one of the things, we say in our life today, especially back in the day, when I was coming up, it takes a village, right?
Ooh,
So
amen.
what an awesome gift that you was given, that you were blessed with, and now you're able to bless other people with the tools they need to get money for their college tuition. And that is awesome. And I love what you said about love. Love, they say love makes the world go round.
Hey, that's right.
Unconditional love of family, friends, support is like, it's so basic, but it's so needed, and it really does make the world go round. So really, really feel the passion and the wisdom and everything that you say. It was just really awesome. So I heard you talk about your parents and your grandparents. What motivated you? I heard you talk about your $100,000 debt that you had for college. Well, what were some of the motivations that you had that made you say, I'm going to start this business other than paying it forward?
So I know it's a few things. Going back to family, being the eldest in my household, sibling wise, and the only son, I have such a great appreciation for. And this again coming from my growing up, the strength of Black women. My mom had cancer the first time as I was graduating from high school, so I had to become that legal guardian for my sister, that leader in the household, and I had to grow up fast. And it showed me her strength because even after getting through cancer, the doctor said you would never be able to talk. But my mom, oh, the strength of that lady, she was relentless in saying that I'm gonna not let anybody tell me what I am able to do. I remember her, I would come downstairs in our apartment and she would have her hand over the hole in her neck and she would be practicing words. And it got to the point where she's able to speak again. I mean, that's strength in itself. And going through all of that, she always had smiles on her face. So that was unshakable strength. I'm like, if my mom have it, I have to continue that strength within our community, our family, our household, and our loved ones. The other thing behind while I'm doing what I'm doing especially to our entrepreneurs out there, it's going to get to a point where you feel like giving up. I remember I had that moment some time ago, and I reached this conclusion: between your breakdown and your breakthrough, you understand your why. And
Mm,
God gave me this vision to change the world. And the thing you have to realize, when you grow up poor, you become innovative, because we have to find ways to make stuff happen when we don't have the resources. When you grow up poor and disciplined, you become dangerous because you can accomplish anything. But when you grow up poor, disciplined, with an unmovable faith in the Father, you become unstoppable. So with
mm,
Him giving me that vision and saying, "This is your purpose," I understand that why. That why is bigger than just me. And even having that vision of global change for the right reasons, I have to keep working. So that's why I get up every day. That's why I do what I do. And that's why we will be known throughout the four corners of this earth, because the Father gave me a why that's unmovable from what I'm doing.
yeah, the why is key. We have to often step back and remember what our
Mm,
why is when we get into those situations where things just seem unbearable. Step back
right.
and see what that why is, right? And
Absolutely.
that keeps you propelling forward. One of the things I heard was strength,
Ooh.
faith, and prayer. It will never let you
Ooh,
down, right? Ooh,
man.
it takes a lot of discipline, right? A lot of patience, right? But
Yes.
strength, faith, and prayer will get you every time. It will hold you down. Totally love it.
Mm,
So, winner of the Scale Up 2022. I mean, you rocked the house, Mark.
thank you.
I mean, people love it. You had the crowd going, right? I remember being backstage like, whoa, they loving Mark Alexander. So, how did winning Scale Up Pitch Challenge impact your business? And how did it impact your network?
It impacted in a plethora of different ways, Robin, which has been exciting. I'll start with the exposure, especially in a time where we're all fighting to get attention, especially for those participants that's considering scale up. Check it out, because on that stage, and you guys have to realize that was a moment that's etched in my heart. When you look into that audience of Black excellence at its best, it was tons of people there. You say, wow, this is my moment. All the cell phones were down. You had undivided, captivated attention to share your story, your moment. So being able to rise above all the highlights on social media, the likes and the tickets, I was able to share my message and my story, and that was amazing. And just a tip to those people that's even considering joining and taking part in Scale Up, I highly recommend it, because now I was able to connect with an overwhelming amount of support, a network, a system, simply being on that stage and sharing my story. The other thing, of course, when it comes to network, I've learned about so many of the very supportive ecosystems that's out there. Because after the pitch competition, so many people came up and said, you know what, I'm very proud of you. Continue doing what you're doing. If you need help, reach out. And this is one thing I want to share with everybody. When someone is willing to offer you help and support, take it. It's been a lot of people that came up afterwards, and whether I followed up with them via email, text, or phone call, I followed up with every single person, and they led me to so many different ecosystems, support resources, and amazing leaders, other entrepreneurs that's on this same journey, and that was invaluable. Some of them I still meet with till today. I met with one of my coaches and advisor, Eric. So thank you again of Starco. Connected with him, but I met through National Black MBA Association, and it helps sharpens me to put me in the better spot mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, but most importantly, spiritually, to go to the next level. Lastly, of course, I'll share about the importance and some of the great things I took away from my business. I mentioned this when I opened up our intro. There were a lot of things that I didn't know that I didn't know. Entrepreneurship, and especially when you're looking at raising funds, and we're doing our $1 million pre-seed round right now, it's a lot to take in. I shared that analogy how my A plus at Pontiac Central was a C plus at this private engineering school, and how I was saying when it came to this entrepreneur journey, there was so much that I had to learn, absorb, and then articulate that I did not know prior to Scale Up. Now we know how to successfully build out a business, how we're looking at scaling, how we're looking at going to the next level. how to measure what matters, and how to 10x everything that we're doing. And that was invaluable for me, Robin. That was something that I would highly recommend all these students take advantage of, whether you're going through the HBCU route for the pitch competitions or you're going straight to Scale Up. Leverage the network, take advantage of those that say, I'm willing to help. But most importantly, I always share this with people, put kind people in your circle. You have nice and you have kind. And the big difference is nice people will tell you what you want to hear to feel great, but kind people will tell you what you need to hear to be great. And National Black gave me a bunch of kind people that want to see me be great, that gave me some advice where I had to revamp what we were doing while still keeping my core identity and who I am, but amplifying my message about what we're doing in the world. So definitely take advantage, everybody.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. You said a lot of things, Mark. But one of the things I heard, take the support, right? Take the support. So many times, entrepreneurs will be, and I'm not personal entrepreneur, but I live with one, so I kind of know the behavior and the characteristics, right? Sometimes we get into this space where we feel like we have to do everything by ourselves. No, you do not. Take the support. There's so many kind people out there that really want to see you succeed, that really want to help you get to that next level, whatever that help may be. So Mark says Scale Up was really instrumental in his business. When I think about Scale Up, it's so much more than just the money, right? There's so many. I speak to past Scale Up winners, and or Scale Up participants. They are so excited. They said the biggest thing that they bring away from Scale Up is the relationships that they have built. They're still friends with some of the people that they went through this process with. So really, take advantage of the relationships, the coaching and the mentoring. We work with Start Co, which is an awesome company that really helps us to train our entrepreneurs, that really gives them the opportunity to learn and give them resources with different investors and VCs. So it's like a almost like a long time relationship that you have with Starco. So it's really awesome. A lot of different opportunities within the program. So we talked about what motivated you. We even kind of talked about, Scale Up and how it impacted your business. What was one of the key learnings that you received from Scale Up that you would pass along to potential applicants?
So I will share this, especially if it's a father will and you make it to that stage. Talk to the audience. Yes, you're going there to pitch for cash prize, which was amazing. But the one thing you don't want to do is minimize the value of the audience that's out there. Yes, you can walk away with the money, but imagine the relationships that you were built. Some of the people that came up to me presented me with opportunities that I was like, wow, this is life-changing. Relationships that have been just priceless for me. And I realized as I looked in the room that day and I evaluated, I have to talk and send this message to everyone in the audience. And on top of that, being able and comfortable to share your story, because guess what those people in the audience are going to do? They're going to go back and tell someone else about this amazing person they met, and then share your story. So talk to them. If you know this, and if you have the opportunity to go watch the video, I'm talking to the judges during the questions. I was like, you know what? Let me talk to this room packed full of thousands of people so they can hear this message. That's one of the biggest things I would tell anyone taking part in Scale Up. Don't minimize the value of those people in those seats. When we had a chance after the event was over and I sat back and had a chance to really take it all in, I went to a dinner that same evening. And when I heard about all of the amazing people in the room, I was like, woof, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So talk to the audience, engage them, share your story so that way they can share your story with other people as well.
That's right. And it's important to know who you're talking to, right? It's important to know who you're talking to. I remember after it was all over, the winners were announced, and people, we were leaving. People were coming up to meet the Scale Up winners and talk to them about opportunities. So it really was, awesome to see. Yeah. But he said something really important: know your audience. Absolutely. If you found anything that was a little challenging with Scale Up, what would you say was challenging? I know what I felt was challenging, but it just seemed like a breeze to you. I'm just saying. But what did you think was, if anything was challenging, what would that have been?
This is going to sound different and unconventional when I say it was challenging for me. Was holding back the tears. Yeah, I got to understand. The journey to scale up was challenging for me, and when I got up there, I remember they had called Daryl from Base Power, Dr. Kanks, Cynthia as well, who were some amazing people to be on that stage with. And when I was like, Father, mm, this is my moment. I remember being on the side of the stage, and it was so hard, Robin, to hold in those tears because it was challenging. That summer, I had my own cancer scare, so my health was challenging. I had lost some weight. I'm just like, Father, what is going on? Prior to coming to Scale Up, we were invited to pitch at another competition, which we went out there, and my wife humbly said, "Baby, you did an amazing job, but we didn't place, we didn't win." And even during that event, people came up and spoke. Was like, not sure what happened, but the Father has something great within you. So I was coming off of health issues, just a lot of challenges, but in my mind, that was just the devil holding me back from something great. So when I got to that stage, and when they called my name, man, it was a breath of fresh air. It was that motivation to keep going. And to get on that stage, I remember hugging Paula and saying, thank you so much. To hold back the tears until I got to the room, that was the hardest thing to do because that was a very joyous day. It was a day I was looking forward to. It's been a day that has changed the trajectory of our business and where we're going from here on out.
Awesome, awesome. Just want to take a pause to say to anyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. We'll be taking questions shortly as I'm trying to not tear up here. So yes, things are not always done in our time, right? We don't always understand why things are happening, why they're happening, and when they're happening. So in his time, when things will happen, right? So we know that as Black entrepreneurs, that it gets really challenging, right? It gets challenging. What did you find to be the most challenging thing when you were starting off your entrepreneur journey as a Black founder? What did you find most challenging?
So I'm gonna share what I found most challenging, what I had to change, and I'm gonna share some things that I've now learned, which I think is going to be very important for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially if you're going on that journey of raising funds. The first thing, coming from my own experience and some feedback I received as a young Black man, was if you want to keep the Black man down, put information in books because they don't read. When someone told me that in my early 20s, what was so embarrassing, Robin, was the fact that it was accurate. I wasn't reading books. It is so much information. The Bible being that key book I read where I learn so much wisdom, knowledge, understanding. But in addition to that, business books, uh, marketing books, there's so much knowledge out there that I was not tapping into. And a lot of these books are decades, if not centuries old, but it's so much information on how to be successful. So I wasn't not that I wasn't reading enough, I wasn't reading at all. And that was something that I had to first change. So once I learned to recondition myself to say, you know what, if you truly want to be great, put down the phone, put down the games, and start picking up these books. That was a very big differentiator for me. And of course, as I learned those things, some of the other hurdles became easier. But the biggest challenge, of course, once I learned to sit down and read, was to get started. A lot of times people think it takes a large amount of money just to get your business incorporated. You can just pay through the, of course, wherever state you're in, the license fee, get your EIN number for free. And that's some of those first few steps to get going. Yes, there's a lot of due diligence you have to do in your own self, getting your business plan together, making sure you understand what it's going to take this business to the next level. But a lot of times we overplan and we never take that first step forward. So taking that first step is going to be game changing and life changing for you. And just at the latter end where we're at now, some wisdom I'm going to share with a lot of our founders out there is don't get frustrated with the process. One thing I've learned as we transition to now doing our first round of funding, The terminology, although we think it should be the same, is uniquely different across region to region or state to state. And I'll give you an example. So if we have any founders out there that's raised in the pre-seed round, the understanding when you come through that pre-seed is you may have a little bit of revenue coming in, product market fit, but this is that financial funding that's going to help take you to that next level. So that way you can get to the point where you can scale and grow. But what we realize as we talk to different investors around the country, because we realize don't focus just on one state. If, like I told you again, if that room isn't accepting you, go another room. So whether you're in a different state that you say, you know what, I'm not getting traction or support here, there's 49 other states around this country that you need to tap into to find out about. But it's such a different terminology. In one area, pre-seed is, okay, we know you're getting some traction going, you got a great market fit, we invest in you. And in some areas, they say, well, you know what? You need to have at least $500,000 in ARR, annual recurring revenue, or a certain amount in MRR, monthly recurring revenue. And I sit there and say, well, if we had these things already in place at a pre-seed round, then we definitely wouldn't need it. So understanding the landscape, the rooms that you are in, and doing your due diligence. My good people, do not minimize your value. Do not dim your light for a room of people that are willing to see your potential. So if someone don't accept you here, go somewhere else, because there are a lot of investment opportunities out there, a lot of VCs, angels, no matter which one to call it, that you can tap into. The goal is to know where you are, who's in that room, and where you need to go. The last thing I'll share as well is you have to be your biggest cheerleader. For me, what I did to keep me going through a lot of these challenging times is I put index cards. And on the back of the index card, Robin, I would write, I will be a millionaire by 25. And back when I was in college, I had on the back of my dorm room door, my mirror in my closet, as well as the desk where I would study at. So I reminded myself before I got ready to study, I was studying to become a millionaire. Before I got dressed, I was dressing to become a millionaire. Before I left that dorm room door to take on the world, I was leaving that room to become a millionaire. And I'll never forget having a meeting one day where someone just they minimized my value. I was in one of those rooms where they didn't see my light. And I walked past all those signs when I got back to my dorm room, put my face down in the pillow, and I was just teary-eyed because I'm like, man, I'm trying to change the world. And they said this feedback to me. And this was a different business over a decade ago. But what I did was I realized I would have these dark days, these dark moments like we all have, but you have to be your biggest cheerleader even on those moments. When I turned over in my bed and had my head on my pillow, I looked up and I just started smiling. I wiped my tears away because in anticipation of those moments, I taped on the ceiling an index card that said I would be a millionaire by 25 to remind myself, Mark, get up, dust yourself off, and keep going because you got greatness you're going to do. So I think that would be the last thing I'll say. You have to be your biggest cheerleader and champion because it's a challenging road. But once you get through those hurdles, it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Mark, I tell you, I hope you guys are taking notes because he is dropping some gems and you are so inspiring, Mark. You're really just uplifting and inspiring. And I know that there's somebody in the pulpit. You are giving them a word, and I know that they are receiving it. We do have a question from Joy James. She said, you did an awesome job. How did you prepare to speak so eloquently?
Ooh, first, that's a great question. One thing I do, and I'll share with you, before I do any speech, any event, I say this prayer. I say, Christ, I pray that you speak to, through, and for me, that my works and words are well articulated, well conveyed, well delivered, and well received by any and all that witness the works of words and or hear the works of words, that they witness with open eyes to see, open ears to hear, and open hearts to understand your wisdom, your knowledge, and your understanding. So I'm going to pause real quick because there's one more part that I do to that, because I realize we have amazing gifts within us. And if we don't tap into those gifts will then be given to someone else. And I realized even at a young age that I had the gift where people would listen to me. Being a smaller guy in my pack back in my neighborhood, even the bigger children would listen to me while I was talking. And when I realized I was able to captivate people, I was like, you know what? I need to sharpen my words, my vocabulary. So I remember I would watch my mom and my godmom back in the day play Scrabble, and I would try to learn some of the words they would say. And then I realized the second part that I'm gonna share with you, you can tell people great and amazing things, but if that's all they walk away with, it's for naught. So I needed people to move with actions, because even the word tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed and you tell this mountain to move, it shall move. And what you got to realize when you look at that scripture, my words have power behind it. If I can move a mountain with my words, picture what I can do to good people when I move them with inspiration. So understanding that, the second part to that prayer was that they move with works and acts that yield the righteous fruit in which I seek, the righteous fruit in which my heart desires, the righteous fruit according to your will. And the reason why I want everyone to understand that faith without works is dead. If you're talking about, hey, I'm going to be this multi-billionaire game changer entrepreneur, but your works don't reflect it, then are you really out there doing the works? And the reason that I always put his will at the top, because even when you're going through affliction and adversity, sometimes that fleshy component of you can steer your mind and say, you know what, just leave this path and go on this way. But if you put his will first, he will make sure that, yes, as he challenges you, disciplines you to be prepared for the blessings that you'll step into, he will make sure that everything is cleared out. So real quick, if you don't mind me sharing, Robin, for anybody that's going through a storm, this analogy I think is good, because you say at times, why is this happening to me? Some storms come about to clear the path for you. And what we don't realize is, because we feel like we're in the storm, we don't realize it's breaking down trees, moving mountains, restructuring a pathway for you, that the storm can be so intimidating, but just give it time. The book tells you, if you move and you faint not, you will see my blessings. And so a lot of times I feel like fainting. To my entrepreneurs out there that feel like you don't have the traction, you're not scaling, you don't have the funding, the capital, take a deep breath, slow down, see what it is that the Father is trying to tell you, because sometimes what we truly need is right in front of us, but we allow the world and all these distractions to get in our way and take us off of our true purpose, that we forget our greatness. We forget that we are unstoppable, because if you put him first, Robin, who can stand against us? And once I learned that, it was amazing. But that's how I learned to, going back to the question, to speak. Let him speak to, through, and for me, allowed me to better articulate. And plus, it scared me, because I'm like, okay, if he's speaking to, through, and for me, I have to make sure that my message is well thought of. And that's why I pray before I do any of those things.
Awesome. Awesome. I mean, oh my goodness, you have such an anointing on your life,
Okay,
Mike.
thank you.
I'm telling you, it's just inspiring. So we do have questions in the chat, but we are out of time. So you can go back and look at these questions if you want to look at the comments and, answer the questions, you can. But I don't want to hold people past the time. So Mark, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for just sharing your story and inspiring us. We wish you much success as you continue in your entrepreneurial journey. So thank you so much. So I wanted to have a couple of announcements I wanted to make. We will be hosting a webinar on June 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. On this webinar, we will be discussing the valuable insights and tips for submitting a competition application and how to make your application stand out. So in addition, we'll have a panel of successful founders that will share their strategies and techniques for leveraging their experience on being selected for a pitch competition. So please, we should be showing the link. So please click on the link. If Jasmine want to put the link up for me so that you can actually register for that webinar. Again, applications for the 2023 Scale Up will open on June 19th. So please be on the lookout on our website for more information. And also please click on the QR code for to fill out the survey, because we will love your feedback. Again, thank you so much. Mark, this was an awesome experience. And I do want to just leave you guys with one quote, and that is, don't worry about being successful, but work towards being significant, and the success will naturally follow. So on that note, everyone have a pleasant rest of your day, and I will hopefully talk to you all soon. Bye.
Take care, everybody.